Jimin almost left. Jungkook can't help it that day. The Seoul sky looked overcast. Not only because of the clouds hanging heavy over HYB's agency building, but also because of the emotional atmosphere that surrounds two important figures in the K-pop world, Jimin and Jungkook from BTS. According to a number of sources from inside the South Korean entertainment industry, Jimin is said to be close to making a big decision, moving away, and leaving a phase of life that means a lot to him. Some say this is about an international project that requires him to go abroad. Others imply that this is related to a personal decision that has not yet been announced to the public. But behind all the news, one thing is a big highlight: Jungkook's reaction. Known as a usually calm and controlling figure, Jungkook this time was unable to hide his emotions. One of the staff, who did not want to be named, said that when news of Jimin's departure spread among their close circle, Jungkook was the first to come directly to Jimin. Without a camera, without a script, just two hearts talking to each other in a voice that almost broke. He came without a plan, just wanted to talk. And his voice was shaking, the source said. All he said was, "If you leave without telling me why, I'll feel betrayed." That's not a word of anger. It's the voice of someone who doesn't want to lose someone who means a lot in their life. Did I in the room? According to witnesses, Jimin did not immediately answer. He just stood with his face lowered, as if holding something heavy on his chest. But what couldn't be hidden was Jimin's eyes, which at that time were said to be starting to glaze over. They don't have to scream. No need to explain in long words. There was only silence, which felt louder than an explosion point. One of the most heartwarming moments that so-called happened back then was when Jungkook took a few steps forward and held Jimin's arm, a gesture full of vulnerability, as if to say, "Do not go. I'm not ready." Without any official footage, the story spread through various fan communities and went viral on social media. ARMY began reposting old clips showing them together, with captions such as "Please don't say goodbye" and "Let him stay." There were also fans who voiced the opinion that whatever the reason Jimin almost left, it must have been very heavy. And Jungkook's decision to have a heart-to-heart talk, rather than through the media or an official schedule, is strong evidence of how deep their relationship is. So far, there is no direct confirmation from HYB or from the two BTS members. However, one day after the news broke, Jungkook's Instagram account posted a dark story with the song's lyrics, "You're the only light when everything fades." Jimin only uploaded a colon emoji and a closing parenthesis, a simple symbol for a smile that can't be explained any further. To date, that answer has not appeared in the form of an official statement. Yet many ARMY believe that in a world where everything is controlled by industrial schedules and strategies, honest moments like this are the most real thing. That behind the magnificent stage and sparkling camera, there are two human beings who care for each other in a way that cannot be written in the script. After an emotional moment involving Jungkook and Jimin in that closed room, the atmosphere in HYB's internal environment slowly changed. Some of the staff began to talk about how the changes in the aura were clearly visible, as if such a heavy weight had once hung in the air, but began to slowly lift. And rumors quickly circulated. Jimin did not leave. Although there has been no official statement, a number of subtle gestures from Jimin began to be read by those who knew him. He returned to the training session with a more stable spirit. In fact, during lunch with the members and staff, Jimin was seen smiling more, although the smile still held a hint of sadness that could not be completely lost. Interestingly, a few days after the incident, Jungkook seemed more protective of Jimin. In one closed-door training session that leaked through a fan site, Jungkook was seen grabbing a water bottle and giving it directly into Jimin's hand, while gently patting it on the back. A small gesture, but full of meaning for those who follow the dynamics of their relationship. ARMY later discovers that Jungkook wrote a mysterious one-liner on their community platform: "If you leave, my heart will leave too." The sentence is immediately associated with the previous moment. Fans speculated that this was not only an outpouring of heart, but also a signal from Jungkook that the emotional incident involving Jimin deeply affected him personally and artistically. Some army even linked it to a possible new song they're writing together. On the other hand, Jimin also gave a subtle hint through the upload of a picture of Twilight that he captioned, "That night, I saw stars I had never seen before." Some fans interpreted it as a form of reflection, that perhaps after the conversation with Jungkook, he saw a new point of view on everything, about their relationship, about the future, and about existence in this stressful world. What later became a byword among fansites was the news that Jimin and Jungkook had spent time together on a rooftop of the HYB building, just a few days after the incident. The moment was not photographed or recorded live, but some staff saw them sitting side by side in silence, looking out into the sunset. According to the description in circulation, not many words were said. But Jimin leaned his head against Jungkook's shoulder for a few seconds before they both got up and went back into the building. That little gesture, for the army, was stronger than 1,000 words. It was a sign that the two not only reconciled, but also found new strength in their attachment. Whatever the answer, one thing's for sure: the moment Jimin almost leaves and Jungkook doesn't let him, will always be an important chapter in their emotional journey together and in the memories of the army who watched everything with an open heart. A few weeks after that emotional moment, BTS finally performed at a special closed-door military event attended only by fellow members and some families. There were no official cameras, but eyewitnesses present on the set shared a heartwarming story. Their appearance that evening was noticeably different, not because of the incredible choreography or stage effects, but because of the emotional connection that emanates from every interaction, especially between Jimin and Jungkook. Jungkook, who usually appears full of energy and full of charisma, showed his softer side that night. He glanced several times at Jimin, who was standing on his left. Even when their ballad song is performed in an acoustic version, Jungkook's voice sounds heavier, like it's holding back emotions. In the middle of the song, when part of the lyrics mentions about an inexplicable sense of loss, Jimin suddenly turns his eyes away from the audience toward the backstage, as if hiding his expression. Jungkook, who noticed it, stepped closer. No words were said, but one small gesture, Jungkook's hand gently touching Jimin's back, left the entire room speechless for a moment. Even the sound of breathing seemed to stop. A few days after the event, in a limited interview with an internal military magazine, Jungkook was asked about the emotional strength he displayed in the song. He remained silent for a long time, then answered, "Sometimes, we only have one chance to say something. And if you miss it, you can regret it for life." The sentence was immediately interpreted as a form of reflection on the events that almost separated him from Jimin. He did not name names, but the context is very clear to those who follow the story from the beginning. A few days later, it was Jimin's turn to be interviewed. In a more subdued but meaningful statement, he said, "When you feel the world is too heavy, you need a reason to stay. I found it, not far from where I was standing." The fans instantly caught the hidden meaning in the statement. Jimin didn't say who or what the reason was to stay, but all ARMY knew. The reason was someone standing with him on stage that night. Jungkook. Now, the relationship between Jimin and Jungkook has become more than just friendship or group mates. It's a story of growth, forgiveness, and a bond stronger than words. They have weathered the storm and are back on their feet, not as two individuals, but as one indivisible force. For ARMY, this is not just an emotional story. It is a reflection that behind the spotlights, there are souls who continue to fight, support each other, and find the meaning of their lives not from popularity, but from honest and deep togetherness.